I've made over $6 million in under 2 years dropshipping, but not so long ago, I was a miserable law student over $150,000 in debt. So what I did was I started a dropshipping store to see if I could build a successful store in under 30 days. You're going to be shocked at how much I ended up making in the first 30 days alone. So what I did was I took $1,500 from my student loan account that was supposed to be going towards law school, and I used that $1,500 to start my business. So once I had my $1,500 starting capital, I was ready to start the 30-day challenge. So I gave myself 2 days to get a business set up. This is extremely simple. All I had to do was go to Zen Business and create an LLC. Once my LLC was approved, I used Mercury to create a company bank account for myself. And while I didn't actually end up getting all of that approved until 4 or 5 days later, within 2 days, everything was in process and I could move on to the next step. So on day 3, I selected a winning niche and I selected saunas. And then on day 4 and day 5, I needed to find all the top sauna suppliers. So it's very important that you find the top suppliers in your industry. And the best way to do this is just go to Google Shopping and type buy the product type online. So buy sauna online, and then go to the bottom left where it says sellers and you find sauna stores. And then you want to find all the brands and manufacturers on their store. So once I had built out a list of over 50 sauna suppliers that I wanted to partner with, on day 6, I was ready to start building my demo store. And the reason we build a demo store is because when we reach out to these suppliers, we want to have a sample website with sample products. So even though we're not live yet, we can show these suppliers a website and then they're able to visualize what their products will look like on our store, which will increase the likelihood that they'll want to work with us early on. So I spent all of day 6 and all of day 7 building a demo store. I used stock image websites to put sample product pictures of saunas up. I built my About Us page with some branded core values. So if the brands that I was reaching out to actually went to my site, they could see that I put time and effort into making things look nice. So on day 8, day 9, and day 10, I was emailing, I was calling, and I closed my first 3 brands. So on day 11 and day 12, I actually wanted to spend the time uploading their products to my store. So when you partner with a brand, what happens is they will send you an email with all of their product information, their product sheets, and their pricing. So on day 11 and day 12, I put all that information on my own website, so then I was ready to start running ads. On day 13 and day 14, I set up my ad accounts, I got my campaigns live, and I actually clicked play, and I started spending my first ever dollars on ads. Now, I was spending almost nothing at first, but on October 21st, 2021, I made my first ever sale, and it was actually for over $7,000. But funny enough, the very same customer, right after he ordered a sauna, went back and ordered a massage chair literally like 1 hour later. So the same guy ended up ordering over $14,000 in items on the span of 1 hour for the first 2 ever sales that I ever made. And then things were a little bit quiet for a couple days. Like on October 23rd and 24th, I made literally 0 sales, and I started to get worried, wondering if it was all just a fluke. But then on October 24th, I made another sale of a sauna, again for over $7,000. But then things literally went quiet for a week. October 25th, October 26th, October 27th, October 28th, 29th, 30th. 6 days, I made 0 sales. And I was worried, like I thought it was just a fluke. I had 2 good days, but I'm literally spending all this money on ads now and I'm not seeing any payoff. And then luckily on October 31st, I made another huge sale for over $8,000. So from October 21st to October 31st, I ended up doing well over $30,000 in sales. So I thought I'm finally having success with this. I'm finally seeing some more consistent results. Hopefully this will be the end of the huge gaps in sales where I can stop stressing and I can just see my store consistently grow. And as soon as I started doing that, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, $0 in sales. And I started freaking out. I was spending a lot of money on ads, and overall I was super worried and stressed. And I thought this whole thing was just a fluke. I didn't know what to do. I was still spending hundreds of dollars a day by this point, but on November 4th, I sold a sauna for over $5,000. And usually all the beginning sales I was making were all infrared saunas. So on November 4th, I actually sold an outdoor barrel sauna, which was the first time I'd ever sold one, which is a huge relief because all my sales weren't coming from the same supplier. I'd finally got one from another one. So even though it wasn't as much as some of the previous sales, I was hopeful. But then November 6th, November 7th, November 8th, November 9th, 0 sales. And I was spending hundreds of dollars per day in ads at this point. So you have to think. So November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, no sales. I made one on November 4th. And then from the 6th to the 9th, no sales again. So there was one day in the first 9 days of November that I had made any sales, and it was only for $5,000. So by this point, November 9th, I'm not even sure if I was making making profit in November alone. I had made a whole bunch in October, but again, I was trying to increase my ad spend to grow my store. There was one day that I made a sale in the first 9 days of November. On November 10th, I made another sale for $4,000. I was happy with, but I had actually kept up my ad spend at this point because I believed in myself. I knew that I had all that success in October, and I thought it couldn't just be all a fluke. And you know what? I was proven right, because November 11th, 12th, and 13th, I did over $23,000 in sales, and things were finally looking up for November. I had done only one day with sales in the first 9 days, and then 11th, 12th, and 13th, I did over 23,000. So I was a little bit less stressed at this point, but again, on November 15th and 16th, $0 in sales both days. And well, you have to imagine, for the first 9 days of the month, I was extremely stressed. I only had one sale. 11th to 13th did over 23,000, so I was finally in a little bit more positive spirits, feeling better about things. I still had that gnawing feeling of worry and anxiety inside because I had only had a 3-day span with really good results. And then, even though that feeling of anxiety was still there, on the 15th and 16th, again, $0 in sales, so it started to increase even more, and I started to feel even more uncomfortable. And this feeling right here, if you've ever started a business, this is something that you've probably all went through. You're gonna have huge highs, huge lows, and the best advice I can give you is you need to stay calm and not get too high during the highs and not get too low during the lows. So the 15th and 16th, I made $0 in sales. And then eventually, I did over $17,000 in a single day on November 19th. And while there was a whole bunch of ups and downs throughout the process, within the first 30 days after making my first sale, by November 21st, 30 days later, I had done over $124,000 in sales. So I had my $1,500 starting capital, and by the 4th month, I crossed over $215,000 in a single month in December of 2021. So you have to imagine, $200,000 in law school, 7 years of time, and with $1,500 from my student loan money, I got started, and in just my 4th month, I crossed over $200,000. And I was making exponentially more from my e-commerce store than I was going to make as a lawyer once I graduated. In that December of 2021, that's when I decided to drop out of law school with literally 3 months to graduating. Here's an email from my dean who asked why I had stopped showing up to my exams. And the reason was, guys, I literally just dropped out. I didn't even think I told the school. I just stopped going to exams, and I just failed. And still to this day, I never graduated. And in the 2 years since I've dropped out, my store has crossed over $6 million in revenue. And my life and how much money I've been able to make since then is completely different because I took that risk. And if you guys want to watch a completely free 2-hour training where I break this all down step by literal step, you can click the link in my bio below. It will have a training that you can attend. And if you want to work directly with me and my team on building your first ever high ticket e-commerce store, we have a program that's helped over 100 people make their first $1,000 online. You can click the apply button in the description and you can apply. You can speak with one of my team members and they'll tell you whether you're a fit or not. That's all for today's video, guys. Cheers.